What's up, everybody? Welcome to a red day here on the channel. If you haven't been here before, hello, my name is Justin. Most people call me GDT, and today we're going to break down why, yes, I had a red day, but I'm pretty happy with it overall. We're going to go through all that in this video. Then I'm going to go to the gym, losing weight, getting jacked. Let's go. Let's trade. Okay, so like I said, I am red today, and it started out here on Roku. So it's making an actually really nice move. So I go ahead and put 100 shares out here at 73.12, and I get that fill. But the problem with this one, which I for some reason didn't look at or wasn't paying attention at the time, was the daily chart. This thing was in a huge gap down over the last few days. So really, this one should have been in a void because of that big gap down. But I wasn't paying attention, or wasn't on my game, or wasn't paying attention, so I didn't see that, and it's going to result in a red trade here, and you're going to see what happens. So I am in here 100 shares short at 73.12. I actually was really liking it at the time without looking at that chart and thinking it could do pretty good. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe this can come down to 72.60 with these first 100 shares, and I'll go ahead and put an order out there. Or obviously, if you know my strategy at all, I'm looking to add in here as it continues to go up. So here it is poking up a little bit more. We're going to see if it can move up towards that $74 range here on Roku. Got the order sitting out there at 72.60, but that looks pretty far away right now with the move still going up. So looking forward to move up towards 74 here. Here it comes into the 90s. Watching it here, there's 74. I'm going to go ahead and click the button, get the ad in there at 73.97. So I now have 200 shares short here at 73.55. So 200 shares short here, 73.55 on Roku, and we're going to wait and see what it can do here. So it actually starts coming down. I put an order out at 73.30 just because it was moving a little slow. I didn't really like what it was doing in relation to the market and everything. So I put the order out here at 73.30 to take 3/4 off and see if I could at least reduce this one down a little bit. But I was not able to get a fill here. So it continues back up. It's coming up now towards the $75 mark. So I'm going to go ahead and get my final ad in right here up towards 75 as it's breaking into the 74.90s there. I'm going to go ahead and get the final ad. So I now have 400 shares short at 74.21, and at this point it is now going to need to come down, and I'm going to start piecing this one out, or I am in my 3 positions and I'm going to have to put a stop in here over the highs if it wants to continue to the upside. So this is kind of where the start of why I'm happy with the day is, because I stuck to what my plan is supposed to be, and I didn't deviate from that, and I went with it, and you'll see that here in a minute. So it actually came down right to my average there. It came down to about 74.25, and then it starts coming back up again. So I'm like, all right, here's the stop in, putting the stop in at 75.01, just over the highs, as I'm supposed to do with the plan. So this is kind of the start of where I'm happy with the day overall, even though I could have avoided this trade because of the daily chart, like I said. But I stuck to the plan, didn't get, stubborn with it or frustrated with it. Just put the stop in where I'm supposed to put the stop, and if it comes up and hits me, it comes up and hits me, and I've got a loss, but it's not going to be a big deal. Just move on to another trade or another day. You live to fight another trade another day. So that's what's happening here on Roku. You can see it's coming up now towards 75, and for a minute here I was like, maybe 75 is going to hold it down, and that's where it's going to start to curl back to the downside. So I might have a shot here, but it's pushing up pretty hard towards 75, so I'm more thinking it's going to stop me out. But I had a little bit of hope. That it was going to hold on to 75 here and come back down. But there's the stop out. So minus 321 on that trade, well under what I want my max losses to be on any given trade. So like I said, it's a red trade. Yeah, that sucks, but stuck to the plan and happy with that overall. Good discipline on this one. And then we're going to move into the rest of the day, which was even more good discipline. And the reason I say that is really 2 reasons. As we're watching CVNA pop up here, I'm going to go ahead and start it short 200 shares at 31.49, and we'll see if this can move up towards 32 now. And the reasons that I'm happy with the rest of the day is because, 1, I was not afraid to continue trading. But a lot of times when you have a red trade, it just gets in your head. You make bad plays. You're afraid to take another trade because you don't want to be more red. And 2, I didn't, 1, there's really 2 parts to part 2, is 1, I didn't go bigger size than normal trying to get my loss back, but I also didn't go smaller size being afraid to trade. So really overall I'm happy with how I then traded the rest of the day because of those factors. of not being afraid to trade and then not going too big or too small after the starting red trade. So we're going to see what happens here in CVNA. It actually gets a little bit crazy here in a minute because I get in my ad here on CVNA. So I now have 400 shares short at 31.69, and I'm kind of thinking it's a little bit slow. Maybe this is going to do a Roku type move, but we'll see. We'll wait and see because it starts coming down a bit here, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, can we get below 31.50? Can we get down towards 31.40? Would really be ideal because then that's below both of my entries where I always ideally want my covers to start being when I'm in short here on these trades. So I'm kind of watching it and waiting to see what it does here. It's kind of just hanging on, but all of a sudden I see RYTM popping up and the guys are talking about in the room. I'm like, holy crap, that's a big move. So I'm going to go ahead and start RYTM, 300 shares short here at 16.35 while I'm still in CVNA. And normally I don't really like to be in two trades at once without having taken partial profits on one of them. But RYTM was way too good of an opportunity there to pass up. So as I'm watching CVNA here come back down, I'm thinking, all right, maybe if we just get down below 60, I will look to take a partial off here and just kind of reduce this one because it's not looking nearly as good as RYTM was. So there's the reduced in CVNA back down to 100 shares. Now I'm going to move over and look at RYTM. So a lot going on here. This is what I want to see out of days. Lots of opportunities, a lot of things popping off. So I was pretty happy with that too overall, that it wasn't a slow day. Ended up with 5 trades today. So, except for being red, it was a good day overall, in my opinion. So I'm in RYTM here, 300 shares short, 16.35. It's the 300 shares is not going too big in this case at all because it's of the range, of the price of the stock, of all that stuff. That's the size that I really should be in here. But we're going to see if this thing can move up through the 1650s, 1660s would be the area for an ad. Or I'm going to start looking for this thing to come down through 16. So not going to take a partial off here unless I can get it through 16 for 200 of the 300 shares. But here come down towards 16. You can see 1601 there on the bid. There's below 16. I click the button and I actually get the fill right there at 16 for 200 of the shares. So I now have 100 shares left in both CVNA and in RYTM, and hopefully those can both continue in my favor and make me a little bit more money back at least on the day. So that's kind of the plan. RYTM, I would want down towards really 1560 here if I was to take another. I was really planning to partial this one out into 50 share pieces as well, so I was kind of thinking 1560 if this one wanted to come down. But then I switch over to CVNA. It's come down a little bit more, and I decide just to take that one off because it's too slow. I don't really like what it's doing, and now I'll go back to focusing on RYTM. Now that CVNA is closed for plus 46, but RYTM unfortunately is just hung on for a long time. You can see I was holding it, trying to get this thing to give me the big breakdown, which I thought it was going to do eventually, because especially looking at the daily chart on this one, the daily chart on RYTM is really good in comparison to Roku, which was really bad. So those are things you got to kind of look at. But I go ahead and put my stop in here, and it's going to get taken out there just for a small gain on those remaining 100 shares. Now this thing eventually popped up and then just crashed down. So it did do that big crash I was looking for, but unfortunately I couldn't get a piece of it. So, we're still going. A little bit later on, BBBY is popping up here. And for whatever reason, I just wasn't comfortable with this one as much. I think because it was the kind of volume coming out of nowhere. Kind of went sideways all day, and all of a sudden it's making this big move. But it is a good enough trade to play, certainly. So I go ahead and get short here, 200 shares at 630. I'm going to look for an ad if it can break the 650 mark. So looking for the 650 mark to add in another 200 shares. I've already got 200 in at 630, but unfortunately on BBBY that ended up being the top of the move, so it kind of puts me in an awkward situation in this trade where I'm not really in with my entry here towards the top of the move. It didn't get up to give me the second entry, so now it's kind of like, what do I want to do with this thing? I'd probably just take it for a small win if I can get this thing down a little bit, say 620-ish. So that's what I decide on. I put my order out here to take the whole thing at 620 if it can come back down there, and it'll just be a small win. But it's kind of an awkward situation that you can get into a little bit there when you don't quite get towards the top of the move with your one entry, and you don't also get your add in when it did get further up above your entry. So you're kind of in this kind of weird no man's land of, yeah, this could come down further, but it could also kind of either grind or go sideways, or if it goes up further, I don't really want to be adding, so I'm going to have to take the loss. So I decided on just putting those 200 shares out here at 630 on BBBY, and I'll just take a very small win if I can get it. So it's coming down into the low 620s now. You can see 623 on the bid there, 624 on the ask. So just looking for this thing to come down a little bit more and fill me and get me out of this trade. So there's 622. Is it going to come down there and get me a fill? Popping back up, 622, 621. There's the fill at 620. This thing did come back down, I think under 610, but you know, I'll take it and move on. So finally on the day, last trade is here in LI. You can see this one's popping up nicely here. It already made a nice little run, but this is the big fast candle that I'm looking for. So seeing if I can get this through the 35.50s here on LI, because then that would be a really, really nice move. So there's through 35.50. I'm going to go ahead and click the button. I get filled short 200 shares here on LI at 35.57. I will look to add if this thing can push 36. It starts coming back down, never got up to 36, so I put two orders out, one here at 35.20 for half, and then the other at 35.05, just kind of trying to front run the $35 whole number a little bit for the remaining 100 shares or the remaining half. So now it's just a matter of what does LI want to do here. Is it going to get me any of these fills? Is it going to bounce before it gets up there and come up towards the highs? You know, it'd be nice to get a little bit more money here. So there's the fill on half. So now I'm down to 100 shares. So trying to make a little bit more money here, reduce the loss even a little bit further here on LI. But I do end up, unfortunately, closing the day with kind of a little bit of a mistake here. I end up putting a stop in here, and that stop is just too close. If anything, if I want to put a stop in here, it should probably be up towards break even. So that stop is too close. That pullback candle was almost nothing. So I'm going to pay for it because it's going to stop me out there, and that ended up being the high of the pullback before it crashed much further back down. So a little bit of a mistake there on LI to end the day, but I'll take it, and reduces my loss on the day down to about, we'll just call it 130. So, you know, overall, after starting down 320 on Roku, can't complain because I stuck to my plan. I took the loss on Roku, and then I just moved on like nothing happened and continued trading. And honestly, this is going to sound dumb because if you guys have been watching my videos recently, you know about I'm going through this health thing and eating really good and working out a lot. And I really think all that discipline that I'm putting into my everyday life reflected today in the trading with my mentality and my outlook on everything. So, you know, I've seen some videos about it before that people talk about if you can stay disciplined and healthy and all that in your normal life, it really helps with your trading. And today was really the first time since I've started working out and eating really good that I kind of saw that come into play. Even though it's a red day, controlled it, continued with my day, didn't do anything crazy, made some money back, and we'll move on to trade another day. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, much longer one today. Appreciate you guys watching it. If you're new here or if you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit that like button. It's absolutely free for you, means a lot for me. I appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one.